So we go 3-2 yesterday. Winning day, we made a couple bucks, but before we get into the leans to the actual, my official picks for Thursday, I want to go over something real quick just to show you guys, just so we can kind of talk about just, being logical can get you both and get you wrong, get you right and get you wrong. It doesn't matter. And just to remind you how crazy these NHL results can be. And, don't ever feel too down about yourself. And at the same time, don't feel too cocky about yourself. Trust me, I've made that mistake plenty of times. Sometimes I'll feel down and then I end up sweeping the board. Sometimes I get too cocky and I end up getting swept. It just happens. And I'll give you guys a perfect example of it. So the Dallas Stars, they were on back-to-back games. They were already on a little bit of a skid. And the Capitals were playing good. And here the Stars get the upset. You could have been as logical as you wanted, and you still would have lost. I was on the Capitals, actually. I gave you guys the Capitals, and we ended up dropping that game to a Stars that was losing. They played back-to-back games, travel, anything you want, and they still ended up causing the upset. Meanwhile, Blues and Blackhawks both were 3-2 in their last 5 games, each team, and I went about it logically. The Blackhawks got most of their wins. Well, they got 2 wins at home and 2 wins on the road before this match, but both they had 2 wins at home, 1 on the road. Meanwhile, the Blues, they were also 3-2, but their 3 wins came at home. And I kind of just went the logical route, saying, okay, well, the Blues, their losses were on the road. They're probably going to lose on the road to Chicago. And we ended up getting that game. That ended up being one of our wins. So it just goes to show you guys, you can be as logical as you can. Sometimes it's going to work for you. Sometimes it's going to work against you. Really, sometimes you just got to take your shots, guys. Don't get too cocky. Don't get too down on yourself. I made both. I made both mistakes. Sometimes I get too cocky. Sometimes I get too, damn, I'm the worst capper in the world. You guys know that feeling. And that's just not the case, because I've had bad days and I end up completely sweeping the board. And I've had good days and I feel great. I feel great about my picks, and then I end up getting swept. So, don't feel too bad, guys, and just remember that this game can go either way. It can go against you and it can go for you on any given day. So, just wanted to give you guys out there, before we actually get into our picks, just to keep that in mind, and just remember, this game can be crazy. So, whenever you think you got a crazy pick, don't think about it. Just like the Sharks, we're plus 200 underdogs against the Kings. Kings were minus 200. I did say the Kings didn't deserve to be that big of a favorite, and hey, it ended up working in our favor. That was what we needed to close out our 5-game card and end up profitable by taking shots like that may seem a little crazy. So let's get into the picks of New York, or at least a New York rivalry in the Buffalo Sabres and the New York Rangers. Guys, the Buffalo Sabres have been on a very quiet tear. They did manage to drop one in their quiet tear. But the last time they were playing against Vancouver, and they were a huge minus 180, and they ended up winning and even covering that puck line. Well, I still think they're not that great of a team. I still don't think so. And New York hasn't been that hot themselves, but I do think getting plus money with the Rangers against Buffalo is a little crazy. So I think the books take Buffalo money today, and we're going to be on the New York Rangers side. So give me the Rangers for plus 105. I think they take this rivalry. You can forget about hot streaks and stats and everything. You can forget about all that when it's a same state type rivalry. So give me the Rangers for plus 105 to kick us off. Today, guys, we got the Toronto Maple Leafs heading over to Philadelphia. Toronto coming off of a solid win against the Florida Panthers. I think this is a perfect letdown spot for Toronto. They haven't been that great on the road all season anyway. Philadelphia coming off of a very impressive win against the Ducks. Glad to see Zegras doing good, man. Zegras, another of my bangers in that game, man. Played an excellent game. So I think the Flyers are just head and shoulders and then Toronto Maple Leafs, at least right now, the way they're playing. And Toronto's used to letting their fans down, guys. They just are. Toronto is just used to letting people down. And for them to go on the road and get a win, that is a big deal. And if they do it here, it will be a big deal if you ask me, because they're coming off of a Florida Panthers win in Toronto. Big emotional game. They beat the defending champs, gives Toronto fans, some hope, and that's horrible. That's horrible. It's horrible to give your fans hope, man. Just ask the Anaheim Angels and ask me as a fan. It's horrible when they give me hope. All it does is break my heart even harder moving forward. So I'm going to take the Philadelphia Flyers. I think the lines are right where they should be. Right where they should be. If anything, I thought Toronto was going to be a favorite, but I'm okay with Philadelphia at this price, coming off of a big win against Anaheim, and Zegras just balls out. So give me the Flyers, minus 128. Before we get into some leans, we got the Edmonton Oilers up against, heading over to Winnipeg, actually. Now, it's a little bit of a tricky game, kind of, but it's just the lines are what kind of just make me jump on to Winnipeg. Yes, Winnipeg. And I know I've said earlier in the season that every time I see Edmonton and Winnipeg play, we see Edmonton get the better of the Jets. And this definitely isn't the same Jets team that was very dominant last season. But the thing is, what's up with these lines, though? That's the main thing, guys. Just read the lines. Edmonton should be a way bigger favorite than Winnipeg, just by the standings, guys. Edmonton is in second place in the Western Conference, and meanwhile the Jets in their own division, they're dead last. Yet these lines are almost a pick 'em, which to me is very telling. We'll see how the lines move throughout the day, but at least for my official pick, I am going to take the Winnipeg Jets in a revenge spot. The Oilers have embarrassed the Jets all season, so I think they get one back. I think they get at least one win against the Oilers this season. So I'll take the Jets for minus 103, even though that's a sketchy price within itself. I'm sure if you look around other sports books, wherever you guys are at, that you might find a plus money, or this might even climb to plus money throughout the day. But just the fact that this is opening up at a pick'em already has me a little bit suspicious, even though the Oilers are head and shoulders the better team. They're playing better. They're second in their division. Meanwhile, the Jets are last. So, again, it's just the lines that are telling for me. I'm just playing by the lines this time, guys. So, I'll take the Winnipeg Jets in a revenge spot. And that closes our 3 picks. We're going to get into some leans. One of my favorite teams, the Anaheim Ducks, heading over to Carolina. The Anaheim Ducks are now on a 7-game losing skid. That's rough, guys. That's rough. Trust me. As an Anaheim fan, that is rough. Carolina, clearly the better team at the moment, playing way better. But, if the Anaheim was in that groove that they were earlier in the season, I think Anaheim is better, if you ask me. Now, as far as a lean pick for this game, I can only be on the Anaheim Ducks, guys, trying to catch that falling knife. This one I wanted to put on my official picks, but the only reason I didn't was just because the Ducks can damn well go into an 8-game losing skid the way they've been playing. Boy, do we have some defensive problems. So, and I just can't do that to you guys. So, this was very close to making my official betting card, but it's not. So, but if I did have to make a choice, I'll take the Anaheim Ducks straight up money line, no puck line play on this one, even though it is a pretty good price. No puck line play, straight up money line on the Anaheim Ducks. I can't touch Carolina right now, but if you were to go straight up puck line on Carolina, I wouldn't even blame you for it. But yeah, I would only have to lean towards the Ducks on this game. Boston. This is just a game I would avoid completely, guys, just because, again, Calgary had a travel spot. They went to Montreal. Now they got to go to Boston. Horrible travel spot, but again, just I wouldn't be surprised at an upset win. It's not like the Boston Bruins or some juggernaut to talk about. And if I have to absolutely make a pick on this one, I'd go Boston puck line. We just seen Calgary get their doors blown out and getting kicked the hell out of Montreal, and now they have to go to Boston. I think they get kicked out of Boston very ugly too. So I'd play Boston puck line. That's the only way I would play it. But I would more than likely just stay away from this game completely. Ignore this game. This game doesn't exist in my world, so not even going to watch it, not going to pay much attention to it other than seeing the score the next day. So minus 1.5 for Boston, but definitely not even close to being on my betting card. Just not a game I'm interested in. Another one that actually was close to making my betting card, just didn't by a little bit. We got the Florida playoff Panthers heading over to Montreal. Montreal playing back-to-back, but at least they didn't have any travel. Got a very solid win against Calgary. And meanwhile, Florida is coming off of, I believe they're coming off of a very good win against the Avalanche, if I'm not mistaken. If that was their latest game, or was it against Toronto, that loss against Toronto? One or the other. I want to say probably they lost to Toronto recently. I think that was their most recent game. And they ended up losing that one on this little, I think it was Toronto, because they are on a little bit of a Canada road trip. Ended up getting that loss against Toronto, but it's okay. Florida, I've told you guys lately, or I've told you guys, playoff Panthers are a different story. When they play teams that are worth playoff contention, they show up, and just don't be surprised when they lose against the weaker teams. I mean, look at how they lost against Montreal. Against Montreal. Against Toronto, guys. My mistake. But as far as this game, I think I would be on the Montreal side, guys. I think I would be on the Montreal side. They got that very dominant win against Calgary, and I think they're feeling good. And I think they're feeling good about that win. And, they got a little confidence boost heading into their match with Florida. Meanwhile, Florida, we'll see if they consider Montreal playoff candidates. On paper, Montreal are playoff candidates. But as far as, when they've gone in head-to-head matches, different story. We'll just have to see what happens. But in a game that I think is a lot closer than these lines tell, I'll be on the Montreal side just for a little bit of the extra plus money, because I think it's a closer game than what the lines are telling, than what the sports book are telling us. I think it's a closer game. Jersey Devils heading over to Pittsburgh. This one's pretty simple for me, guys. Again, almost made my betting card, but I just didn't want to. It's just the Devils are just playing so crappy that I didn't want to give them to you guys. But at the same time, I do like that, again, on this channel, we have caught some good falling knives. So that's what I would do here. I would just try to catch the falling knife with the Devils. That loss to the New York Islanders was absolutely hideous, absolutely brutal to watch. I was actually leaning towards the Islanders in that game, so I wasn't too upset about it. Again, I'm in California. What do I care about these East Coast games? But I would take the Devils if I absolutely had to on this match. Again, they just didn't make my card simply because, that 9-0 shutout was pretty ugly, guys. It was pretty damn ugly. Even some of the players came out and talked about it a little bit. They look absolutely embarrassed. So that's the only reason that really, really kept me off. If they had just lost to the Islanders, maybe like 3-2 or something like that, probably would have been a different story. But getting shut out, a 9-0 shutty, no, thank you. I can't do it. But I would lean towards the Devils in catching the falling knife. Vancouver heading over to Detroit. Again, guys, another game that kind of almost made my card, but it's just, I can't keep giving you guys the Canucks and then sometimes win, sometimes lose, man. I want to be on this Vancouver side, but I think the right play is Detroit. My angle was that Vancouver had already gotten destroyed by the Red Wings earlier, maybe about a month ago, right? Early December. Vancouver got 4-0 shutout in Detroit. Last time they were in Detroit, I don't think much different happens, if I'm being honest. I want to call it a revenge spot for Vancouver, but that's probably better off in Vancouver, not in Detroit. So if I had to absolutely pick something, I would go just Detroit money line, because if the Canucks do play hard and take this as a revenge game, then I think they'll keep it close, and I think Detroit sneaks out a 4-3 win, something like that, 3-2, something one goal, I think it ends up being a 1-goal win for Detroit. So if I had to absolutely pick, I'll go with the Detroit Red Wings. A puck line is nothing crazy either. That's if you're feeling a little bit risky. But I do think Detroit sneaks by, or at least I think one of these two teams ends up sneaking a 1-goal win. And as much as I want Vancouver in the revenge spot, it's probably better at Vancouver, not in Detroit. So, once that's like the main piece. If this was in Vancouver, I think I would have hit Vancouver money line very easily. But since it's in Detroit, I don't think they get a revenge win on the road. So Detroit money line, that's the only way I'd play it. Over to Nashville. I I know Islanders got that 9-0 shutty against the Devils. So they're definitely coming in here with some confidence. They should be the favorite. Why aren't they the favorite? I guess Nashville is sometimes overpriced, overvalued, kind of how they have been the whole season. So, but if I had to absolutely pick something, I would go with Nashville just because these lines should be closer, or should just be straight up pick 'em at this moment. It really should. Maybe that's what it's going to be once moving on later on in the day. But at least at the moment, reading by the lines, I'll take Nashville. I would take Nashville as the slight home favorite. I think the Islanders. I think they let down a little bit after that explosive performance against the Devils. After scoring 9 goals, do they really keep that momentum going? We'll have to see. Nashville has a way of making things very, very boring sometimes. Sometimes they do show up. Sometimes that defense does show up and make it a low-scoring game. So I think the Predators make it a low-scoring game, and I'll take them as the home favorite, as a slight home favorite, if I had to absolutely pick this game. But again, not a game that I'm just not watching. Ottawa, the team that let us down yesterday against Utah. They couldn't handle Utah, and now they got to go against the Avalanche. Travel spot is almost non-existent, so that's nothing. It's nothing crazy, but it looks like that elevation is too much for Ottawa, in my opinion. But if I had to absolutely pick a side, I would still be on the Ottawa side. Trying to catch that falling knife, and I just don't think they lose back-to-back games, but I don't want to find out and give you guys that bet. So I think it's worth taking a shot on Ottawa in these plus 200 spots. Colorado doesn't lose too often. It is Colorado. Colorado has been an absolute juggernaut this whole season. So you be very cautious if you are going to play the Senators. Maybe have it be some coffee money or some chump change that you don't care about. So, but if I had to pick, I would pick the Senators. I would pick the Senators again. And then if they lose this one, I'll probably pick the Senators next time, depending on who they play. But this is Colorado, guys. Keep that in mind. But again, remember, sports math doesn't work. Just because Ottawa lost to Utah means, hey, they automatically should lose to Colorado. No, if they're going to lose to Colorado, it's not because they lost to Utah. It's because Colorado is just that damn good. Colorado is just a juggernaut this season. So, but I do like the price in that big plus 215 price. Just again, not an official pick for me, but if I had to pick a side, all the value is on Ottawa. So Ottawa plus 215 if you had to. But again, remember, this is Colorado, the damn juggernaut. It's getting closer to the end. We got the Columbus Blue Jackets heading over to Vegas. Guys, all right. So we've pretty much figured out a very important piece of information for Vegas. Guys, Vegas does not cover puck lines to save their life, man. They just don't cover puck lines. So you either got no choice but to go either Columbus plus 1.5 or Vegas minus 180. That is one ugly game. To get some plus money, you really just got to hope that the Blue Jackets can upset Vegas at home, which is not difficult, in my opinion. I don't think that that's something crazy that we've seen. We've seen Vegas lose at home plenty of times this season, so it might be more worth it to just take a shot on the Blue Jackets for plus 155. Unless this is just that one miracle game where Vegas ends up covering the puck line, but it's not like Columbus has been some pushover the whole season. Yeah, they've been blown out in certain games, but they also do have some solid wins. So be careful with this one. If you absolutely want to bet it, I would say your quote-unquote safest bet would probably be Columbus plus 1.5. But I know some of us don't like to pay heavy prices for something like that. So I would just go straight up Columbus money line. And if you're feeling really, 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 really risky, then you go Vegas minus 1.5. But again, guys, they just cover the puck line. The last time they covered it, guys, in their last maybe 7 games was probably once. That's just not what you want to see. And even then, before that, it was probably they've maybe covered 2-3 games on the puck line in their last 15. It's just not worth the risk, in my opinion. You could have played all of those games in Vegas. You could have played whoever had +1.5, and you would have won. So the hit rate is just not there for Vegas on the puck line. You either go Vegas straight up money line, you go Columbus money line. I mean Columbus, yeah, Columbus money line or Columbus +1.5. But I like the Columbus side better. But I just would not be surprised if Vegas can sneak by a 3-4 win or a 4-3 win at home. So yeah, just be careful, guys, with this game. Vegas doesn't really cover puck lines too often. The -1.5 puck lines too often. So just keep that in mind whenever you're trying to make a pick for this game. But as far as for me, I would go Columbus straight up money line, just because, again, I don't want to be sweating a -180 the whole time. Minnesota Wild heading over to Seattle. I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't look into this game too much. I didn't really look into this game too much. All I can see is just kind of how these teams have been playing. And both of these teams are playing games that are just completely forgettable, if I'm being quite honest. If I had to absolutely make a pick, I would go just straight up Minnesota money line, just to be a little bit weird. And I just think that this game has weird written all over it, if I'm being quite honest. It's the last game of the night. Am I really going to care? I'll probably be asleep by the time this game is happening. Yeah, I'll be asleep. Yeah, 7 p.m. Maybe I'll be asleep by like 8 or 8:30, something like that. But yeah, I would just take Minnesota money line. Head and shoulders the better team. Seattle, very forgettable performances from them this season. Just kind of like they have been the last 2 seasons. I can just kind of forget about their games, even though they are on the West Coast. But yeah, I think Minnesota's the better team. I think they get the win. I think they sneak by a win. Not that, again, I never really see too much fight in Seattle. Meanwhile, Minnesota has had a couple explosive runs. But just Seattle I'm just fading on Seattle. I'm just fading Seattle. I think Seattle's just such an underperforming team that I can kind of forget that they're even there. So I'll take Minnesota money line. If I had to pick this game, I'm not betting this game. All right, just want to make it clear. I'm not betting this game.